If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment.
You're how old? No way. I would have guessed at least 10 years younger. Has this ever happened to you? That moment when someone's jaw literally drops after learning your true age? It's not just flattery, it's not just luck. And contrary to what the $90 billion beauty industry wants you to believe, it's not just about expensive creams or treatments. What if I told you that looking younger than your age is actually a physical manifestation of your inner world? As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The truth is, people who appear younger than their chronological age share specific psychological patterns and life philosophies that literally slow down how they age from the inside out. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the 7 secret reasons why some people seem to defy time itself. And these aren't surface-level tips. These are profound psychological shifts that the ancient Stoics understood thousands of years before modern science confirmed them. If strangers consistently mistake you for someone much younger, or if you're wondering why some people just don't seem to age like everyone else, pay extremely close attention. What I'm about to reveal might finally explain what's really happening beneath the surface. The Stoic Fortress, your unbreakable inner citadel. Look around you. There are people who've been absolutely crushed by life's most brutal storms: divorce, bankruptcy, illness, loss. Yet somehow, their faces tell a completely different story. Their skin glows. Their eyes remain bright. The lines on their face speak of laughter, not suffering. How is this possible? They possess what the ancient Stoics called an inner citadel, an unbreakable mental fortress that remains standing even when everything else collapses. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words nearly 2,000 years ago, yet science now confirms what he intuitively understood. Your body literally responds to your thoughts. When stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil take over your mind, they don't just stay there, they physically manifest, carving themselves into your face, slouching your posture, and draining the vitality from your eyes. This isn't philosophy, this is biochemistry. When you allow life's hardships to consume you, your body floods with cortisol, the stress hormone that literally accelerates aging. It breaks down collagen, it dulls your skin, it etches permanent worry lines across your forehead. Look at those who age before their time. What do they share? They ruminate on past failures. They clutch tightly to grudges that happened decades ago. They exist in perpetual anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet. Their bodies are constantly in fight-or-flight mode, heart racing at 3 a.m. over an email, stomach churning with acid during every meeting, muscles so tense they crack like dry branches with every movement. And nothing ages you faster than living as your own torturer. But then there are the others, the ones who get knocked down 7 times and stand up 8. The ones who take life's heaviest blows but refuse to carry the bruises forever. These people practice what Epictetus taught: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Their resilience isn't just mental, it physically preserves their youth. Their skin remains elastic, their eyes stay clear and present, their entire being radiates a quiet strength that time itself seems to respect. If strangers consistently mistake you for someone younger, ask yourself, do you face adversity with a steely resolve? Can you laugh when life tries to break you? Do you have the wisdom to distinguish between what you can and cannot control? If yes, you've discovered the first secret to agelessness, not through expensive creams, but through an unshakable spirit. And if you haven't built your inner citadel yet, as Seneca said, begin at once. Release what lies beyond your control. Find meaning in your struggles. Choose resilience over resentment, because while life will absolutely try to weather you down, only you decide whether those storms leave their mark on your soul or on your face. The beginner's mind, eternal curiosity as nature intended. Have you ever met someone who lights up an entire room just by entering it? They're 55 years old on their driver's license, but there's something about them that feels eternally 25. Their eyes sparkle when they speak. They lean forward when you share ideas. They ask questions that make you think deeper than you have in months. What separates these rare individuals from the masses who age into dullness? One word: curiosity. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca understood something profound in this observation, that a mind preoccupied with wonder has no room for the fear that ages us. Let me be brutally honest. Those $300 serums and procedures, they're treating symptoms, not the cause. Because true youth isn't skin deep, it radiates from within. The moment your mind calcifies, when you stop questioning, stop exploring, stop learning, you've aged more profoundly than any wrinkle could ever indicate. I witnessed this firsthand with two colleagues. Both turned 50 last year. One spent the past decade in the same role, same routine, same conversations. The other learned 3 languages, took up rock climbing, and regularly debates philosophy with people half her age. The difference in how they've aged is shocking. The first moves like gravity is his enemy. His conversation revolves around complaints and nostalgia. His face has settled into expressions of resignation and fatigue, not just physically tired, but existentially exhausted. The second? She practically bounces when she walks. She speaks with animated hands. Her face shifts constantly between expressions of delight, contemplation, and genuine interest. She doesn't just look younger, she embodies youth. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today, Seneca warned. Those aging prematurely are constantly postponing life. I'll travel when I retire. I'll learn that when I have time. Meanwhile, the ageless souls among us understand what Marcus Aurelius meant. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. They pursue knowledge not for validation, but for the pure joy of discovery. They ask questions without worrying how they'll appear. They approach each day with what Zen Buddhists call Shoshin, the beginner's mind, a concept the Stoics practiced centuries earlier. The science is unequivocal. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections, flourishes with curiosity. People who constantly learn new skills maintain higher cognitive function, better memory, and, most relevantly, report feeling subjectively younger. This mental vibrancy literally transforms physiology. Curiosity triggers dopamine release, reduces stress hormones, and improves immune function. It changes how you hold your body, the muscles you engage when you speak, even your cellular health. I spoke with a neuroscientist who put it perfectly. The difference between looking 60 and looking 40 often comes down to whether your neural pathways are highways or overgrown footpaths. So ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you were genuinely curious about something? When did you last lose track of time learning something new? When did you question your own assumptions? If you struggle to answer, you found your aging accelerator. But if people consistently mistake you for someone younger, if your energy outpaces your peers, chances are you've maintained what Epictetus called the most powerful human faculty, choice. The choice to remain a student of life rather than its tired critic. Because the most profound truth about youth isn't found in biology, but in philosophy. Age isn't measured in years, but in wonder. Maintain your curiosity, and time becomes merely a number, not a sentence. Selective association, the company that preserves your youth. You've felt it before, that immediate heaviness that settles over you within minutes of being around certain people. The way your shoulders tense, the way your breath becomes shallow, the way your mind starts racing with anxious thoughts. It's not in your head, it's in your cells. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. When Marcus Aurelius wrote these words, he wasn't just offering philosophical guidance. He was revealing a profound truth about how our environment literally shapes our biology. The energy you allow into your life isn't just affecting your mood, it's physically altering how you age. I watched this play out with 2 sisters in their mid-50s, genetically identical twins, same diet, same basic lifestyle. Yet one looked nearly a decade older than the other. The difference? The people they chose to spend their time with. The first sister surrounded herself with chronic complainers, drama seekers, and energy vampires. People who found problems in every solution, people who treated everyday inconveniences like catastrophes, people who gossiped and criticized constantly. After years of this exposure, her face had literally transformed. Deep lines between her brows from constantly furrowing in concern, downturned mouth corners that remained even when she tried to smile, dull skin from the chronic cortisol flooding her system. She looked perpetually exhausted. The second sister? She ruthlessly curated her social circle, not with snobbery, but with self-preservation. She spent time with people who challenged her intellectually, who laughed easily, who focused on possibility rather than limitation. Her face told a completely different story. Laugh lines instead of worry lines. Bright eyes that engaged fully in conversation. An ease in her expression that made her appear impossibly youthful. This isn't just anecdotal. The science is absolutely clear. Harvard's longest-running study on happiness found that the quality of our relationships is the single biggest predictor of both our health and how we age. When you expose yourself to chronically negative people, your body produces inflammatory cytokines, proteins that accelerate aging at the cellular level. Your telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that determine how quickly you age, literally shorten faster. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, Epictetus observed. The same principle applies to relationships. True social wealth isn't in having many connections, but in having ones that nourish rather than deplete. Look at anyone who appears remarkably younger than their chronological age. I guarantee you'll find this pattern. They've become masterful at protecting their energetic boundaries. They don't engage in pointless arguments. They don't spend hours listening to complaints they can't solve. They don't sacrifice their peace to maintain relationships that leave them feeling drained. As Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. He understood that our environments aren't just settings for our lives. They're active participants in shaping who we become, how we feel, and yes, how we age. Ask yourself honestly, after spending time with the 5 people you see most often, do you feel energized or depleted? Lighter or heavier? More hopeful or more cynical? Your body is keeping score and displaying the results on your face. This doesn't mean abandoning people who are struggling. The Stoics taught compassion, not callousness. But there's a profound difference between supporting someone through genuine hardship and allowing yourself to be a dumping ground for toxic negativity. If people regularly express surprise at how young you look, pay attention to your social ecosystem. You've likely created an environment where positivity flourishes, and your biology is responding accordingly. Because while genetics plants the seed, environment determines how it blooms. And the company you keep might be the most powerful anti-aging serum you'll ever find. Amor Fati. Love your fate and defy time. You've seen them, those rare individuals who radiate vitality at 50, 60, even 70 years old. They don't just look younger, they move differently. While their peers shuffle through life, these people bound forward with an almost electric energy. What's their secret? They've mastered what the Stoics called amor fati, the love of fate, the embrace of everything life brings, including change. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These aren't just pretty words from Marcus Aurelius. They're a blueprint for psychological flexibility that literally keeps you young. Look closely at someone who's aged beyond their years. The root cause isn't always bad genetics or poor lifestyle choices. It's rigidity, mental, emotional, and eventually physical inflexibility. Their faces tell the story. Deep-set frown lines carved by decades of resistance. Their bodies betray them. Shoulders permanently hunched from carrying the weight of the way things should be. Their vocabulary gives them away. I'm too old for that. In my day, we didn't. I could never learn to. This stubborn refusal to adapt doesn't just poison their outlook. It physically accelerates aging at the cellular level. Studies show that psychological inflexibility triggers chronic inflammation, damages telomeres, and disrupts hormonal balance. It's as if their bodies are responding to their mind's command to become as rigid as their thinking. Then there are those ageless souls who approach life with childlike wonder. I met a 72-year-old woman last month who had just learned to skateboard, not because she needed to, but because her grandson loved it and she wanted to share his joy. Her face glowed with an energy that made her look 20 years younger. These people understand what Epictetus meant when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens to you that matters." When technology changes, they dive in with curiosity instead of complaint. When their bodies begin to shift with age, they don't fight it with desperation. They adapt their routines with wisdom. When society evolves, they listen and learn rather than calcify in outdated thinking. This mental flexibility isn't just philosophical, it's neurological. Each time you learn something new, embrace an unexpected change, or step willingly into discomfort, your brain creates fresh neural pathways. Your mind literally stays younger, and your face follows. Look at those who seem untouched by time. They carry a certain lightness. Their expressions aren't weighed down by the gravity of resistance. Their eyes remain bright with possibility rather than clouded by the cataracts of cynicism. So ask yourself honestly, when change knocks at your door, do you barricade yourself inside the familiar? Or do you fling that door wide open, greeting the unknown like an old friend? Because the truth that Seneca understood centuries ago still stands. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And nothing wastes life's precious energy like fighting against its natural flow. Your physical appearance isn't just reflecting your age, it's revealing your relationship with change itself. Choose rigidity and watch time carve its evidence across your face, but choose amor fati. Choose to love whatever fate brings and carry that mysterious spark that makes everyone wonder. What's your secret? Emotional sovereignty, the freedom that preserves youth. Walk into any room of people over 40 and you'll spot them immediately. Some look like they're carrying invisible boulders. Their faces have hardened into masks of restraint, deep furrows between their brows, tight lines around pursed lips, eyes that seem faded, as if life has slowly drained the color from them. Then there are the others, the ones whose age genuinely shocks you when you find out. Their expressions move fluidly. Their faces light up in conversation. There's an unmistakable lightness to them, as if gravity itself has made an exception. What separates these two types of people? Emotional sovereignty. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius understood something profound, that emotions themselves aren't the problem. It's our relationship with them that either liberates or imprisons us. Let me be brutally honest. Your unexpressed emotions are physically aging you. I watched my uncle deteriorate before his time, a military man who prided himself on never complaining, who thought vulnerability was weakness, who responded to every emotion, joy, grief, fear, with the same stoic nod. By 50, his body was betraying the truth his words wouldn't, his jaw perpetually clenched, his shoulders permanently raised. The skin around his eyes creased not from laughter, but from decades of squinting down emotions that threatened to surface. The science is irrefutable. When you bottle up emotions, your body floods with cortisol. This stress hormone literally breaks down collagen, the very protein that keeps your skin plump and elastic. It constricts blood vessels, reducing the nutrients reaching your skin. It even disrupts sleep patterns, preventing cellular regeneration. Your suppressed rage becomes inflammation. Your unacknowledged grief becomes muscle tension. Your denied joy becomes neural rigidity. I'll never forget interviewing a 78-year-old woman who was consistently mistaken for being in her early 60s. When I asked her secret, she laughed, a full, unrestrained belly laugh that made everyone in the room smile. I cry when I need to cry. I yell when I need to yell. I dance when the feeling hits me. I've never once worried what someone might think of my emotions. This doesn't mean lacking control. Even Seneca clarified. The point is not how long you live, but how nobly you live. True nobility isn't suppression, it's conscious expression. The Stoics weren't advocating emotional repression as many mistakenly believe. They taught appropriate action based on honest assessment. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Look at those who remain youthful despite their years. They laugh without reservation. They allow tears to flow when moved. They express frustration directly rather than letting it simmer. Their emotional honesty creates physical freedom. Their faces move through the full spectrum of expressions, maintaining muscle elasticity. Their bodies release tension rather than storing it in their tissues. Their nervous systems regularly reset instead of remaining locked in fight or flight. Ask yourself, do you swallow your words to keep peace? Do you force smiles when you're breaking inside? Do you downplay your excitement to appear mature? These seemingly small emotional compromises are carving themselves into your face day by day. The truth that keeps some people looking eternally young isn't found in their medicine cabinets. It's in their emotional courage, their willingness to feel fully, express honestly, and release completely. Because while time will inevitably mark us all, those who live in emotional truth wear those marks as evidence of a life fully lived, not as the weight of emotions never set free. Eudaimonia. The purposeful life that defies time. You've seen them both. The first type walks through life like they're already half dead. Shoulders slumped, movements mechanical, eyes vacant. When they speak, their voice is flat. When they listen, they're already thinking about something else. They exist, but they don't live. Their faces tell the story before they speak a word. Deep, joyless lines carved not by laughter, but by resignation. A dullness to their complexion that no skincare routine could fix. An invisible weight that seems to drag their features downward against gravity. Then there are the others. They enter a room and the energy shifts. Their eyes hold a spark that's immediately recognizable, but increasingly rare. When they speak about their work, their passions, their dreams, they lean forward, their hands animate, their entire being seems illuminated from within. The difference isn't genetics, it isn't privilege, it isn't luck, it's purpose. A man's worth is no greater than his ambitions, Marcus Aurelius wrote. The ancient Stoics understood what modern science has only recently confirmed, that a life without purpose ages us faster than any disease. They had a word for this state of flourishing through purpose, eudaimonia, not just happiness, but a profound sense of living well, according to one's highest purpose. I remember interviewing a 67-year-old sculptor whose hands were weathered and calloused, yet whose face radiated such vitality that people routinely mistook him for someone in his early 50s. Every morning, he told me, I wake up with problems to solve. Beautiful, challenging problems that I can't wait to get my hands on. Some days my body aches, but my mind doesn't know I'm old, so my body follows along. Compare this to people trapped in what Seneca called busy idleness, filling their days with meaningless activity while their spirit withers. Their biology literally accelerates the aging process in response to this existential void. The research is undeniable. Studies from Northwestern medicine show that people with a strong sense of purpose have a 15% lower risk of premature death and significantly better physical function as they age. Their inflammatory markers are lower, their stress response is more efficient, their cellular repair mechanisms more effective. Purpose transforms your biochemistry. When you're actively engaged in meaningful pursuits, your brain floods with neurochemicals that combat aging. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. These chemicals don't just make you feel better, they literally slow cellular degradation. Look at those who seem to defy time. They aren't just existing from weekend to weekend, retirement check to retirement check. They're building something, creating something, solving something, contributing something. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future, Seneca advised. Those who appear perpetually youthful embody this wisdom. They aren't waiting to live. They aren't postponing joy until some distant milestone. They're fully engaged now. This engagement writes itself across their faces, in the brightness of their eyes, the expressiveness of their features, the energy in their movements. Their skin seems to glow not from expensive treatments, but from the vitality that pulses beneath it. Ask yourself honestly, if someone observed your daily life, would they see someone going through motions or someone pursuing purpose? Do you wake up with anticipation or resignation? When was the last time you lost track of time because you were so absorbed in something meaningful? Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Those who look eternally young have answered this question with clarity and conviction. Because the most powerful anti-aging force isn't found in medical breakthroughs or cosmetic innovations. It's found in having something to wake up for that sets your soul on fire. Something that makes the passage of time irrelevant compared to the fullness with which you're living. Youth at its essence isn't about looking young. It's about feeling fully alive. And nothing keeps you more fully alive than a life driven by passion and purpose. Memento presens, the liberation of living unburdened. Look closely at someone carrying yesterday's pain. You'll see it etched across their features, the permanent furrow between their brows from replaying old arguments, the downturned mouth from years of resentment, the tightness around their eyes from constantly looking backward instead of forward. Their very posture tells the story, shoulders hunched as if physically carrying invisible weights. Movements cautious, as though navigating around ghosts that only they can see. The past becomes a prison written on their skin. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius understood the profound freedom that comes from releasing what we cannot change. The Stoics knew what modern neuroscience now confirms, that dwelling on past injuries doesn't just torment your mind, it literally accelerates cellular aging. I witnessed this transformation in my closest friend after her divorce. For 2 years, she clung to her betrayal like a poisonous talisman. She rehearsed arguments that would never happen, replayed scenes looking for clues she'd missed, nursed wounds that never had a chance to close. Her appearance changed dramatically during those 2 years. New lines appeared around her mouth. The skin beneath her eyes darkened and hollowed. Her complexion lost its vitality. Friends began asking if she was ill. Then something shifted. I realized I was drinking poison and waiting for him to die, she told me. The day she decided to release her grip on that past, her entire being began to transform. Not overnight, but steadily, unmistakably. 6 months later, people started commenting on how well she looked, asking if she'd had work done. She hadn't. She'd simply put down a burden her body could no longer afford to carry. The science behind this is irrefutable. When you ruminate on past injuries, your body produces inflammatory cytokines and stress hormones that literally accelerate aging. Your telomeres, those protective caps on your DNA that determine how quickly you age, shorten faster. Your immune function weakens. Your sleep quality deteriorates. Bitterness becomes biology. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. These words from Marcus Aurelius aren't just philosophical comfort. They're a prescription for longevity. Look at those who maintain a youthful appearance well into their later years. They share this common trait. They refuse to be anchored to their past. They've mastered what Seneca called the art of living in the present. This doesn't mean denying painful experiences or avoiding accountability. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The Stoics understood that true freedom comes not from rewriting history, but from changing our relationship to it. I interviewed a 72-year-old woman whose radiant appearance belied her years. When I asked about her most difficult life experiences, she shared stories of profound loss and betrayal. But there was something remarkable in how she spoke. No bitterness, no lingering resentment, no heaviness. I learned long ago, she said, that holding on to pain is like trying to swim while clutching rocks. You either drop them or you drown. Her face, smooth, expressive, alive, was the physical manifestation of this wisdom. Ask yourself honestly, what past hurts are you still carrying? What grudges have you elevated to identity? What regrets do you replay on the endless loop of late-night thoughts? These aren't just emotional burdens. They're physically aging you, cell by cell, day by day. But here's the liberating truth. You can put them down at any moment, not through denial, but through the courageous act of acceptance and release that the Stoics practiced. When you finally stop dragging yesterday's weight into today's life, your body responds. Tension melts from your face. Your movements become lighter. Your stress hormones normalize. Your immune system strengthens. The very cells of your body begin to express relief. If people consistently remark that you look younger than your years, it may be the most visible sign that you've mastered this final secret, the profound liberation of living unburdened by what came before. Because youth at its essence isn't about looking backward with regret or forward with anxiety. It's about being fully present in this moment, the only place where life can ever truly be lived. If you found value in this message, you'll definitely want to check out one of these 2 videos.